Canty, we're going viral. Check out the newest Buck, Kyle Korver, helping the reigning MVP Giannis work on his jump shot. You do it this way, Giannis. No, watch. I'm going to show you. Like that. There.
That is going to be as beneficial to the Bucks as any point Korver scores this season. Korver helped LeBron at least temporarily fix his free throw shooting when he first got to Cleveland. Korver is as good of a pure shooter as we have in league history. And him working with Giannis on fundamentals is awesome. It's one of the reasons the Bucks were so happy to get him.
I don't know where Ben Simmons is, but he need to find his way into that gym, too, with Kyle Korver, see if he can fix that broke jumper.
I thought this was definitely one of the points why I wanted to have him on the team. Not only going to space the court, but his overall knowledge of shooting the basketball is one thing. But he's got one of the best shooting routines that's in the NBA. All great shooters have a routine, and there's a reason why we haven't seen Ben Simmons this summer.
And Korver, by the way, I mean, year 17. For him to be in the league, elongate this career like that, it's unbelievable.
His cardio workouts and what he does, it's amazing. It's truly amazing. Yeah, him, Ray Allen, Richard Hamilton, all of them. Long distance running, intervals. Oh, man, it's a read up on.
Check it out.
I'm going to go down a rabbit hole of athletes now.
Consistent perimeter game.
Oh, that was bad news.
He will be on his way to being the best player in the league. No question.
All right, from basketball's MVP to football's MVP, the Chiefs opened up training camp yesterday. How do you get better than the best? Well, ask quarterback Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs stud QB coming off a year in which he threw for 50 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards. Helped guide the Chiefs to the AFC title game last season. This season, sure, it'll be challenged to repeat his numbers, but Mahomes says he's more focused on how far his team can go.
I mean, as a competitor, I mean, I'm going out there and trying to be the best quarterback I can be. And I think with the people around me, it's not about me trying to take a next step. It's about me just going within the offense and leaning on my teammates and letting them rise up with me. And I feel like that's something that we're going to try to do as a team, is just build with each other in order to take that next step as an offense and as a team.
He's under the microscope by everybody asking that same question. Has he changed? You know, has he done this or that? But I think when you're around him, you see that this is what he is. He grew up around this. He grew up around star players, even though it was baseball, and so he's not awed by any of it. He wants to be a great player in the National Football League, and he understands that there's certain things that I've got to take care of. There's a certain foundation I have to be great, and he's maintained that through this offseason.
All right, Chris Canty, what do you think Mahomes' biggest challenge is going to be coming into this season?
Before I dive into that, Jenna, I just want to say I really appreciate Pat Mahomes saying that it's not about the individual accolades. It's about what our team is going to do. It's about trying to have team success at the highest level, because I think that's in part setting the stage for what they're trying to accomplish this season.
But also it's near impossible for him to duplicate what he did last year.
No, he's not going to be able to duplicate what he did last year. I don't think he's going to throw for 50 touchdown passes. I think the biggest challenge for him coming into year 2 as the full-time starter is his ability to be patient, because defensive coordinators have had an offseason to look at what he does well and to scheme around him. He's going to see some different wrinkles, and I think that if I'm a defensive coordinator, I would probably try to take away the big play from the Kansas City Chiefs offense. When you look at Andy Reid, he's one of the most creative minds offensively that our league has seen, and there were a lot of wide-open throws that Pat Mahomes had last year. I think he had 23 touchdown passes to open receivers, an open receiver being classified as 3 yards of separation or more. He's got over 1,500 yards passing on throws of 20 yards or more downfield. They led the NFL in yards per play. They led the NFL in points, but they were 12th in time of possession. So this was a big play, quick strike offense. This is going to be an adjustment for Pat Mahomes going into year 2. Is he going to be patient? Can he take the check down? Will he allow this offense to morph into a team that can make a defense die the death of 1,000 cuts? We know Tom Brady can do it. We know Drew Brees can do it. Can Pat Mahomes do it? I think that remains to be seen. I think that's going to be his biggest challenge, because you see the physical attributes. There isn't a throw on the football field he can't make. But I think his biggest opportunity for growth will be understanding when not to take those types of chances.
Yeah, when you're a high-level performer, it really gets fairly simple. He needs to be worried about himself. All right? He don't know nothing about running routes. He knows a little bit about reading coverages, and Andy Reid's calling all the plays. People, they get all this stuff, or they believe that, you know something, it's about this guy, it's about this guy. You know what it's about? It's about him. he better make sure that he's getting better. He better make sure that he's staying on top of his game. He better make sure that he's making the right reads. He better be ready for more blitz pickup. He better be ready to throw the ball away more. Yes, those numbers, no, he's not going to duplicate those numbers. But thinking that every NFL season is going to be like last season, it would be a mistake. So Patty Mahomes, people are going to ask you questions about all these other guys, but don't forget, the team starts with you. Even though it's a team sport, you have to take care of your own individual business. When he's throwing this offseason, he's not throwing to most of his teammates most of the time. So it's about him. It's about his arm angle, him developing a touch, him being more methodical. And to me, that defense plays a huge part, and the running game. Can they, what if they get a team that's only going to play a big defense? They're going to play 8 in the box. Will they decide to switch up the game plan and Patty Mahomes be satisfied with that? Because we know the elite of the elite. Drew Brees in recent years, he changed it up from throwing 50 times a game to now they got more balance. Tom Brady, all the way through the playoffs, early in his career, whatever the coaches decide. So with Patty Mahomes, that becomes very, very important.
So for Mahomes this year, he was very lucky in one regard last year. A lot of potential interceptions dropped or knocked out of the defender's hands.
Yes.
He threw 12 picks. And that's not a terrible number. That could have been closer to 20. Now, he's still, when you throw 50 touchdowns, you can almost deal with that. But he's got to be a little more careful with the ball.
There were 10 other opportunities where the defenders had their hands on the ball. Tony Dungy used to always teach, get your hand on the ball some type of way, it will lead to a turnover. Those 10 didn't lead to turnovers, but
and that's the most in the league as far as potential turnovers that weren't turnovers. That's just interception luck. That's fun, that's luck of the short sample size of the season. So he's got to be more careful with that. And we saw that bite him in spots where instead of throwing the ball away, tried to make the spectacular play, because so often they did make the spectacular play. But for the Chiefs to take the next step next year, it is to me far less about Patrick Mahomes and far more about the defense. Last season they lost 5 games. Seattle beat them pretty soundly. The other 4 games, Chargers, Chiefs are up 14 points late. Chargers score 15 in a row, including a 2-point conversion as time expires. The game against New England, the first one, they're down 15 at the half. They end up tying the game with 3 minutes left. Defense can't hold. The playoff game against New England, down 14 at the half. They have a lead with 2 minutes left. Defense can't hold. That Chargers, the Rams game, pardon me, Patty Mahomes had 5 turnovers. They still found a way to claw back in, got a lead with 3 minutes left. The defense couldn't hold. So will the addition of Frank Clark, will the addition of Tyrann Mathieu, will the change at defensive coordinator, will that be enough to overcome what is a very pedestrian group of corners? I would argue not the most stout run defense in the league. In fact, far from it, maybe one of the least stout run defenses in the league, because the offense, okay, maybe it won't be the 3rd best offense in league history or top 10 offense in league history. It's going to be one of the 5 best offenses in the league this coming season, assuming Patty Mahomes plays all 16 games. Will the defense do its part? That, to me, is the question that will determine, can the Chiefs make it back to the AFC Championship game or further, much more than a potential statistical regression from Patrick Mahomes, which I think everyone expects, because last year the numbers were so off the charts.
Well, it would have been a regression for sure if Tyreek Hill did not come back and join this team. How much does he help, Mahomes' comfort level, Mahomes' confidence, just starting the year off kind of where they left off last year?
Well, I mean, just having his speed on the field makes a huge difference in terms of what the defense is going to do. I mean, he's the guy that dictates front and coverage from a skill position standpoint with that Kansas City Chiefs offense. So the fact that you have to account for him with 2 defenders, it changes the math. It makes things a little bit easier for Pat Mahomes. But still, I think that based on what we saw last year, you can't say that they're going to be able to pick up and continue to have that same level of production, just because defensive coordinators will have answers. Now, to your point, Nick, about the change in the defensive coordinator, going to Spags, I think, could be beneficial for this group, because when you look at when you change coordinators or change schemes, I think that guys automatically become dialed in because they're learning. It's not something that's assumed. They're not complacent because they've been in the scheme for multiple years. So that could be beneficial for that defensive side of the ball. They got to get Chris Jones taken care of. He wants new money, so we'll see how that contract negotiation works out. But I look at this defense and I say to myself, see, it can't be much worse than it was last year. They were 31st in defense last year. And so they did upgrade the talent on the front end and the talent on the back end. That group has to improve. But this is still going to be a team that's led by their offense. And like you said, it all starts with Pat Mahomes being able to have individual success. So I think he has to understand what his team needs, what they have to do with each respective game plan each and every week, what he's going to be asked to do. Sometimes he's going to want to take a chance. He's got to fight that urge to take a chance in certain situations because they can't afford for him to turn the ball over and put that defense in a tight spot. So I think that his decision-making and his patience will be to the test this year, and how he handles that aspect of his game will determine whether Kansas City Chiefs are able to get past the conference championship into the Super Bowl.
This group of skilled guys, they might go on to have 5 or 6 great years in a row like they did in Pittsburgh. But there's only one player on their offense skilled, and that's Travis Kelce, that's had more than 2 seasons. All right? So let's not think Patty Mahomes been doing this for 20 years. Let's not think Tyreek Hill been doing this for 20. No, their breakout seasons were both last year. Kelce's been the most consistent over the last several years. He's the best tight end in football. Without Tyreek Hill, they don't have another proven wide receiver. Sammy Watkins, so the question you asked, man, Tyreek Hill, he was huge to be able to get him back. If you want Patty Mahomes not to dip back, if you want to try to get close to those numbers, Tyreek Hill, it was impossible if they didn't get him back for a full 16-game schedule to be able to duplicate the offense success, because he does so many things in the running game, deep passing game that opens up things for the rest of them.
Stick around one more segment. Thanks, Canty. Take a break. Coming up, did the Dallas Cowboys found their missing piece for a Super Bowl push? That's next on First Things First.
You can leave.